Hello everyone and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, the Superman show brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. In this, our May 2nd, 2022 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics, including General Zod appearing in an upcoming movie played by Michael Shannon. We're going to be talking about Wonder Twins Deactivated. We're also going to talk about the latest episode of Superman and Lois, comic books and so much more. And to let you know how he feels about all those things and so much more, we're going to talk to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. How's it going?
Doing well, and yourself?
Me am feeling not good, I guess is the way to do that. I can't literally speak backwards. It's kind of funny that the show, that Superman and Lois has kind of skirted that by just literally having the audio played backwards or the actor saying the line backwards. But we're going to get into that in a minute because we're here to talk about Superman, and because Superman Homepage Live is live right now on YouTube, we want to hear from the people watching us as we go. So if we don't have a whole lot on the docket, which looking at it tonight looks like we do, but if we don't, we take calls about halfway through. And how does that work? Well, as you see on the side of the screen, you're going to need Skype. Go to Skype, search Superman Homepage, and send us a message that you'd like to be on the show. Now, here's the thing. 1, send us a message. Don't just call, because that can screw things up. And 2, if you are watching Superman Homepage Live via an external speaker, please mute that if we get in touch with you, because we are in a bit of a delay, and that can screw things up. Yes, and for those who are tuning in via YouTube tonight, we invite you to participate in the comments there. We've already got stacks of people, John, Michael, JP, and so many more tuning in live, commenting already. Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments as the show goes along. And but if you'd like your comment or question featured live on the screen during the show, that's called a super chat. Click the little dollar symbol there on YouTube. A slider will appear on your screen. You decide on the dollar amount you're willing to donate, and we will feature your comment or question live on the screen as we go to air. And thank you to our patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And remember, if you want to support Superman Homepage Live, simply click the dollar symbol, the join button below. There are different levels of perks, and you can feature your name, your business, your project, whatever, on our program here every week. And tonight we have a pretty interesting show. There's a few things to get through, some inclusions, some exclusions, and a really good episode of Superman and Lois, which we will need to go through at some length. So without further ado, let's get into the movie side of things, which is what we like to start with. And this week, we just, after our previous show, had it confirmed at CinemaCon that General Zod, as played by Michael Shannon, will be making an appearance in the Flash movie. We had heard the rumors about him and Anche Trower, who plays Faora, being in the Flash movie, but Warner Brothers has confirmed it at CinemaCon, where by all reports people who were in attendance were blown away by what they saw from the Flash footage that was shown. It hasn't been leaked or uploaded online at this point in time, but looking forward to seeing what they saw. Yeah, it looks like at this point everybody's going to be in this movie except the Flash. Which is a simple joke to make. And, you know, if they're going through, like, kind of exploring the multiverse and exploring maybe a reality where General Zod didn't get killed by Superman, that'll be kind of interesting. And must have been compelling to bring Michael Shannon back, because he seems to be kind of picky with the roles he takes. And it seems like when he's done with a role, he's done with it. Because there was all those rumors, and he even helped like fuel them, that it was his body that they were using in BVS, you know, to get the skin samples and stuff like that. But it turned out that didn't happen at all. No. So I it's just weird that they keep showing like trailers and footage from a movie that isn't coming out till next year.
And there's still so much speculation about Ezra Miller's involvement in this film because of the trouble that he keeps getting himself into, being arrested twice now in Hawaii within a space of a couple of weeks. And there's been a massive call for Warner Brothers to replace him with the Grant Gustin, who plays the Flash on the TV show. I don't see that happening because if they're showing footage, then they're in post-production. All the production stuff has been done.
Yeah, they're well down there. I mean, they finished principal photography during, I think, the second Obama administration. So it just seems to me that replacing him at this point, it would almost be like when Christopher Plummer replaced Kevin Spacey in a film. They just refilmed all the scenes with Kevin Spacey's character after all of the speculation came out about his terrible behavior. But man, they just can't catch a break with these movies.
I know. It's these actors keep playing up and getting involved in crazy things that are going on in their private life, their personal life, which, as fans, it's disappointing to hear because you are worried about them jeopardizing a film that you're looking forward to seeing. You've got what's going on with the Aquaman movie, and whether or not how much of an involvement. What's the actress's name that's in with Amber Heard with the Johnny Depp court case legal battle going on there? Whether or not they're trimming down her involvement in the upcoming Aquaman movie. There you've got Ezra Miller and his issues. And, I love Grant Gustin's The Flash. I think it's a fantastic series and he's fantastic in the role. But just logistically, it's probably not that possible, without spending millions and millions of dollars to reshoot what you've already filmed.
Because you're not just filming him, he's playing two versions of Barry Allen in the film.
And there are other actors in the scenes with him that you'd have to call back.
I mean, it just doesn't... They're going to do it now. Whether or not they bury it is another thing entirely. This could end up being just... it's not the first time a movie has come out, Justice League, where it had an ending or set up something, Justice League, and that's just never going to happen. We're never going to see Lex Luthor either tell Deathstroke, that Batman is Bruce Wayne, or want to form an Injustice League. It proves that actors will come back. I was actually pretty shocked to see that what's his name, Jesse Eisenberg came back and shot that new version of that scene. But that's just one clip of him, at the very end of the film. It probably took him all of a day to come in and do that. Probably took a little longer to get Deathstroke suited up. But even he really wasn't, his lines weren't all that different. But this is the lead of the film. I mean, I know we keep joking, that there's more about General Zod and Batman, actually two Batmen, in this film, with supposedly other cameos that are a complete surprise. You're not going to bring them all back just to reshoot around Ezra Miller, just because Ezra Miller is obviously suffering some form of mental health crisis.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like what's happening in his personal life is going to necessarily affect the outcome of the film. There won't be too many people who will boycott the film because he's been arrested a couple of times or has had some personal issues off camera. The film has been shot. They probably don't need him to do anything else other than maybe promote the film, do red carpet stuff, which they might decide not to do down the track when it's coming out for promotion. But if he's filmed principal photography, they've probably scanned him for any digital effects that they need for CGI. There's not really much point from their side of the thing to replace him so late in the game. I know we're saying that the movie's not out till next year, but as we said, they've done the principal photography. It's all just post-production CGI computer stuff at this point in time. So I don't see any shift there for the Flash movie. Also hearing speculation about them using stock footage from the Christopher Reeve Superman films to like go through the multiverse, and that could happen. We could see him racing through a time tunnel or whatever you want to call it, and going through the Speed Force and seeing things in the background that may be from other multiversal time movies.
Well, I mean, they did that on the Flash television series when he went to Earth 2 and he was running through the multiverse. There was a shot from the 90s Flash series.
Yeah.
Now, eventually, John Wesley Shipp became, they brought that back, and then they had like a shot of Supergirl. And that was just kind of foreshadowing the fact that he was going to be, on an episode. But it's just, I'm wondering how much they're going to put behind this if they're just going to dump him as the character. Now, you can always recast. They haven't done that a whole lot lately. Back in the 90s, we had 3 different Batman. So it was just something they did. It's really difficult these days, it seems, to recast an actor once you've landed him. But here's the thing. Unless the rumors are true, which I don't put any stock in, but unless the rumors are true and they're giving Zack Snyder control of the DC films again, there's no, and this is maybe be sad for Henry Cavill, but here's the thing. This is what bugs me. Ezra Miller gets a film, and he's like screwing up all over the place. Now, again, I am not discounting the idea that he is having some issues, and this is how it's manifesting itself. I'm not going to sit here and make fun of somebody who's going through a rough time.
Sure.
But Henry Cavill's just living his best life and building computers and having Thanksgiving with his dog and just being like the best guy ever. And, we don't give him another Superman film. And that just shows me that the previous administration just did not have any interest in continuing with Superman. I'd love to know what those meetings were like, and what the meetings are like now that you have all the new people, because everyone's probably scrambling for their job.
Yeah, it is crazy. And some questions. Amethyst saying, you don't think that the Discovery buyout will change stuff? I'm sure it will change stuff. We're already seeing that, because in our next piece of news, we've discovered that, it hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that the Wonder Twins live action film has been canned. They're saying that the cast and crew were informed this past week that the film has been scrapped, and it was only a couple of weeks ago, last week, the week before, that we found out that Zan and Jaina had been cast with KJ Apa and Isabel May in those roles, and now they no longer have a job with this film reportedly scrapped.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if that's just the fallout from the merger. Things like this, projects that people have going on, especially in these creative, the entertainment business. When the new bosses come in and they don't have any skin in that game, and the fact is, once these buyouts and mergers happen, the name of the game is, cutting as much as entirely possible so they can recoup the costs of the buyout and hopefully make something profitable. HBO Max seems to be doing pretty well. I don't think a Wonder Twins movie is interesting. It's not essential. This isn't a property that they need to really, that there's like any skin in the game to exploit further. I don't know how well the recent comic book series did, but this could be something that was pushed through because somebody was able to get it pushed through, and now that you have the new bosses, they're like, no, we're pulling the plug on this. We're having enough trouble with this Flash movie. We're not going to worry about a Wonder Twins film.
Yeah, which is sad. It would have been interesting to see how it went and what kind of, I'm all for just more DC content. But, this one probably didn't have a lot of people pushing for it. And so it was probably an easy one to throw into the trash. But it's a shame for those people who maybe did have skin in the game and were banking on this for a bit of income and for a job. There's always some fallout, But I guess cuts get made and people look at things and see, no, this is not something we necessarily want to spend money on. And yes, HBO Max is making some cuts, and looks like the CW, as John is talking about here, have been cancelled as well, cancelling some projects as well, with the CW cancelling Batwoman and DC Legends of Tomorrow. There is word out around about the place that The Flash will get its final. We know it's been renewed for its 9th season, but that they're already saying that that'll be its 9th and final season, which, you know, I mean, that's 9 seasons is a good run. And if they are being told in advance, like Supergirl had been, that, you know, hey, listen, guys, this is going to be your final season, then they can prepare and end it on their own terms. Whereas with Batwoman and DC Legends of Tomorrow, it's just gone.
Yeah, and, you know, there's rumors that Superman and Lois may be shifting over to HBO Max, which would be unfortunate because, you know, not everybody has that subscription, but it also might push people to get the subscription to at least watch the show. And whether that means that they're just going to have even shorter seasons, I hate hearing anybody losing work and being out of work, especially in the entertainment business, which is so cutthroat, and, you know, requires not only, you know, you work hard, you also have to know people and connections and such. And I know that's not like the only way you get a job in that industry, but it helps. So the fact that, you know, the Batwoman crew and the Legends of Tomorrow crew just like, it's not happening, it's just sad. But again, you know, the industry is changing, and, you know, anytime there, like we said, anytime there's a buyout, there's casualties. I mean, this is the thing. I have a friend that reminds me of this all the time. You know, every time you have a merger, every time Disney buys Fox, you're going to have, you know, yes, you know, finally we can have the X-Men and the Fantastic Four in the MCU, but how many people are losing their jobs to get that? So it's just one of those, it's just sad. It's
the nature of the industry. It's sad, it is. But yeah, that's just the nature of the industry, unfortunately. We, you know, wish all those people well, and all the fans who, you know, disappointed that they're losing one of their favourite shows. Unfortunately, these things happen. You know, it's where we live in an industry. We live in a time where the industry actually announces these things. Back in the day, you'd watch a series, have no knowledge that the show had been cancelled, and you'd come to a season-ending finale or a cliffhanger, and then never came back, and you just had to accept it. It's just the way it was. Just the way it was. You know, shows got a first season order, and then there wasn't any internet to know about whether or not there was, you know, being renewed or picked up again. You just lived with the fact that it never came back. So it is what it is, but disappointing for those fans and those people involved. All right, before we move away from the movie, I know we've just touched on some television stuff, but just quickly, if you're in the area of Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, then the movie Superman the movie will be showing at the Franco Banco Alehouse Cinemas in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania on May 4th. So this week, Wednesday, May 4th at 7:15 p.m. Tickets are $10 for non-members, $8 for seniors and those aged 25 and under. And you can purchase your tickets through steelstacks.org. So if you've never seen the movie on the big screen, and you're in that Bethlehem, Pennsylvania area, head to Frank Banco Alehouse Cinemas.
That's right near where I grew up.
Oh, wow. Did you ever go?
Allentown, Bethlehem, Easton. It was the Lehigh Valley. And we lived a little outside of Allentown, but my mom worked in Bethlehem. She was a nurse at St. Luke's Hospital. And
she didn't work
for
in
a brief time.
In a manger, did she?
No. But man, you want to talk about a town that celebrates Christmas.
Oh, wow, I can imagine.
But it's actually a cool city because it's really old. It was founded in the 1700s, and it was mainly founded by the Moravians. So their old cemeteries are still there. We went back in 2014 for my reunion, and so but yeah, I saw that. I'm like, yeah, really. Well, there's less of a sting now that I got to see it back in 2018, but for years it was just like, Superman the movie is going to be screening in nowhere near where you live, and this would have been like an extra. It's like, no, Mike, if you would have stayed where you live,
it's your fault.
You could have done it. Yep. And J.P. Roach at Steel Town. Yes. If you've ever heard the song Allentown by Billy Joel, he's not talking about Allentown. He's talking about Bethlehem, but Bethlehem does not roll off the tongue as much as Allentown does.
There you go. Learn something new here on Superman Homepage Live. All right.
That's what I'm here for.
That's it. Just picking out all those tidbits of information that we need to know about, or thought we didn't know about, and now we need to know about them. Let's get into the television side of things. And Superman and Lois had a new episode on Tuesday night, and it was titled Bizarros in a Bizarro World. And this was a bizarro episode. It was really well done. Deconstructed the whole flow of a normal episode. Just kept giving us flashbacks of different people or different characters from their point of view, and kind of meshing it in with where the story was at that point in time, bringing us up to date. And you gave it a 5 out of 5, and I did a video on all the Easter eggs, and they're not necessarily Easter eggs because they're not necessarily hidden, but a lot of I was talking to my mother about it today, and she watches Superman and Lois, and is not a comic book fan. She just watches Superman and Lois mainly because I'm a big fan, and she loves the character herself, but she's not a huge reader of comic books or anything like that. Probably never picked up one in her life. She doesn't know about this thing behind me, which is the Anti-Monitor's outfit as a hologram.
Yeah.
The Fortress of Solitude key floating past as a hologram. All those kinds of little things. Crypto, the cat, as eating out of a crypto bowl. Things that you notice as a fan and as someone who loves the characters and does a deep dive into the world of Superman. There are lots of things in there. President Seinfeld. Things like that popped up that were just really interesting to kind of note and take on board.
President Seinfeld, who does all of his State of the Union addresses, or just him telling stories about his life. No, I knew I was going to enjoy this episode because I just had a feeling I was. They hyped it pretty good, and they've rarely disappointed me on this show. But just the aesthetics of everything, the actors getting to kind of play different versions. I mean, the scene where Superman and Lois are having a fight, that's not a fight they would have on the show.
No.
It's just, and the things they didn't talk about, like the fact that he's a drug user, and her like bringing that up and him going, "It makes me better." I'm just like, wow, this is like a CW drama, like a real CW drama, not just a show existing on the CW. I loved the different looks for everybody. We got Coyote Ugly Lana, which was kind of cool. Christy Beppo can just dress like that for the rest of the series, as far as I'm concerned. I kind of have a thing for her to begin with, but the goth version of her really kind of pushed that over the edge. I liked Jordan being mopier than his counterpart, but still the show had a lot of heart to it, because the fight Superman and Lois had, like, I felt that. I felt bad for these people, because it was just, and at the end when he was just like, I'm going to make everything right, and then they all find out he's dead, and they even tried to redeem Mitch Anderson, which they kind of did. I think he went a little too far, but that moment where he goes, "So this is what you're hiding. This is what you're not telling me," and suddenly him seeing that, like, the realization, like, oh my God, I was coming at this from the exact wrong way. I've got to do something about this. And I loved Tal Rowe in this.
He was so upbeat.
Yeah, he was so happy. It was just like him being all nervous on his wedding day, and and then him at the end going, I let my brother down before, I can't do that again. And Superman saying, he's like, after all when Mitch Anderson's like, after all I've done, he's like, I believe in second chances. So now is that going to translate to Talro in his world? So, and it's such a Superman thing to say, by the way. But no, it was just like everything about this. And then at the end, it's just like, well, this is going to end horribly.
Yeah, it's an amazing episode of this show, and we've got a lot of questions flowing thick and fast, especially from John Patrick Van Pelt in our comments. He says, is Bizarro's Jonathan L. and Superman talking to the real Lois or a Bizarro version of her? I'm not sure when you're referring to, but the Bizarro world version of these characters, Lois was probably the more like her own self in both versions of the Earth. She didn't really change too much. Where the Bizarro Superman was a lot more full of himself, was a lot angrier, was quicker to, go into the drug using the kryptonite, and was, not as nice a person as the Earth Prime version of himself. So the fact that that escalated pretty quickly for him is because it's not the version of Superman that is on our Earth, if you like.
Like the big difference with Lois is that she always got along with her dad.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, it was like a blink and you'll miss it moment. But if you were really paying attention to this episode, there was a lot to unpack.
Yeah, exactly. Jonathan knows about the pendants. John in the comments, John L knows about the pendants because Ali tells him about them, and that's what he's looking for. That's why he comes looking for the pendants and is trying to chase them down for her, because he believes in what she's telling him when she meets him at that nightclub, and gets into his head, if you like, about the whole thing. Can you guys explain a little bit more of what Project 4377 is and what is it that John L is talking about? It's the same project as on Earth Prime, where the DOD has all the kryptonite weapons and storage of stockpile of things that could hurt Superman, and that's where that's what they're looking for there. If Bizarro Superman is trying to save Jonathan, does that make him the real Superman? Bizarro Superman is Bizarro Superman. Superman is Superman. He wants to save his son.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to save everybody. He's completely screwed up. Yeah. And now he wants to make it right, and he just never got that chance.
Yes. The Olsen that Chrissy Beppo was talking to was a Janet Olsen. And so it's just, again, a Bizarro version. Instead of Jimmy Olsen, we get Janet Olsen here. In my video, it's the same actress that was helping Lois out in the interview that she did in season 1, episode 11, where she interviews Superman on camera, and then off camera she pulls Lois aside and says, I think he's got a crush on you, or Superman's got a thing for you. So it's the same actress there. So whether her name is Janet Olsen on our Earth, it's unknown, but interesting that they used the same question. Do you guys think that Lieutenant Mitch Anderson is really going to help this time around compared to earlier in the season? Well, did he die in this episode?
He looked like he was dead.
Yes.
It's TV, so
it's
possible.
The Bizarro version of him was burnt by John L.
Yes.
And then the Mitch Anderson from Earth Prime that went over there looks like he kind of sacrificed himself at the end there to make things right. As you said, tried to redeem himself because he knows that Superman's secrets weren't something that were a negative towards America, or his way of trying to hide something that Mitch Anderson needed to know. It was him protecting his family, and once he realized that, as he said, it kind of hit home for him, and he realized that he'd been on the wrong end of the way he was thinking. So yeah,
I think the only downside to this episode, and it had to happen because for the story to happen, is that he's like, here, take these pendants, get out of here. And Superman just didn't get out of there and tried to take on 3 superpowered people. And he's losing his powers rapidly because of the red sun. Though kudos for pulling off the square Earth.
Yes.
That was, I was very impressed with that.
Did not see that coming. And the interesting thing about this episode, and not many people picked it up from those I've spoken to, is that it was filmed normal, but in editing they flipped mirror image. So the barn was on the other side of the Kent house. The porch is back to front. The layout of the house is back to front. Superman's part is on the other side because everything is just a mirror image. It's just flipped, and that's how Bizarro World looks. So that was a really interesting kind of feel to the episode.
Yeah, and apparently Superman's cape is always tattered on that Earth.
Yeah.
So it's
a style choice.
It was just interesting to see like literally the exact opposite of everything Clark has been trying to impart to his kids. And it was funny to watch that Clark seemed to be more annoyed that Jonathan's Q rating was better than his. Like Jonathan was getting more popular and he was signing the autographs. And that's just literally the opposite of who Superman is as a character. He's not in it for that. I'm just really looking forward to the next 5 episodes. I think I don't think they've peaked yet. I think we got a lot more to go.
Yeah, indeed. It was the only thing that kind of threw me out from this episode was the fact that they came to Smallville not because he grew up there, but for some other reason that it just didn't really. And then they had L on the letterbox instead of Kent. That just kind of threw me a little bit. Why would a superstar who's a mega celebrity decide to settle in Smallville?
To be fair though, celebrities do that all the time. They move to smaller towns so that they can have a quieter life, which he was never really interested in. Also, kudos to the special effects team to having his neck glow when he was using his fire breath. That was kind of a cool effect.
Yeah, didn't notice that one. And the blue eyes of anger instead of the red eyes of anger. Of course,
he wanted everyone to chill.
Ice vision,
so he just glared at them.
All right, so that was a pretty impressive episode of Superman and Lois. And as I said, if you haven't read Michael's review, please do so on our website. And if you haven't checked out my video of the Easter eggs, I got taken to task for calling them Easter eggs because they're not really hidden, but it's a kind of a catch-all term. So you can check that out on our website as well.
Yeah, the proof of how good this episode was is that all of the comments so far, unless something's come up in the last day for the review, are really positive, and everyone's really liking the episode, which is not usually what happens.
I did, and I don't want to get on the whole Snyder fan versus whatever, but I did see a lot of comments on Twitter and that, people going, if I ever hear Superman and Lois fans talking about how negative Superman is in Snyder's films, and they're using the Bizarro argument with him and Lois as a example, and someone says tell me you don't watch Superman and Lois without telling me you don't watch Superman and Lois.
Yeah, it's just like, wow. Well,
and the fact that you're using Bizarro Superman to compare to that Superman, it's kind of like, oops. Not really doing yourself any favors, but anyway, yeah. There was a trailer for the upcoming episode, but before that there's a Everything We Care About season trailer, they called it, which is a short little one, but take a look at this.
It feels like we keep drifting apart as a family.
Maybe we're not that close to begin with.
You gotta keep your precious secret so we can live a normal life.
The secret is destroying everything we care about.
Yeah, but it also gave us everything we care about.
Dad's not here to save you this time.
I'm the only one who can stop.
You can't stop what's coming.
There's something I would like to show you. Something that would change everything.
Lois is pregnant.
I'm gonna be an uncle!
The world is about to end as we know it.
How was school? Anything exciting happen?
No.
There we go.
Can we try to have one nice night together as a family? Allie found a portal to another Earth. This would be the end of humanity as we know it.
So there you have it. That was a little bit of a season trailer. And then here is the promo trailer for the upcoming episode, which is Episode 11 of Season 2, titled Truth and Consequences. It will air on May 3rd, so tomorrow night. Check out Truth and Consequences trailer promo.
Feels like we keep drifting apart as a family.
Maybe we're not that close to begin with.
You lied to me for 14 years about who you actually are.
That secret keeps this family safe.
We can't stop what's coming.
So there you have it, the little bit of same kind of footage amongst there. So are we looking here at maybe Clark's secret being revealed or being an issue?
Well, the thing about these trailers is that they always hype up the most dramatic points of it, and it ends up being an important part of the episode, but not framed the way the trailer did it. Like the promo for the first episode was like all about Clark and Lois fighting, and like you're like, oh, are they going to just not like each other? And it just turned out to be part of the episode. So I think more than anything, what this episode's going to do is my prediction is that it's going to cover Clark seeing what happened in the other universe and realizing I've got to be better about what I'm doing with my Jonathan. And I think also I'm hoping this is going to be the thing that kicks him in the ass to say, Jordan, I'm going to train you. I'm going to take you under my wing. You know, I'm going to show you how to do this so that you don't make those same mistakes either.
Interesting. All right, before we take a quick break, because we're already well over our halfway period of the show, some quick Smallville news with Erica Durance going to be a special guest at the Saskatoon Entertainment Expo. Actually, no, that was this past weekend, so it's already happened. My apologies if you were there. Would love to hear about it. How did you go? Did you get to meet Erica? How was it? Was there a panel of any kind? Let us know if you're at the Saskatoon Entertainment Expo. All right, we're going to take a quick break, play some messages, and come back on the flip side to talk about the comic book side of the world of Superman. We're going to also do our fan favorite segment and This Week in History. Don't go anywhere.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
DC. Comics. Incredible. Action. Astonishing. Adventure. The coolest heroes. The bravest heroines. And the most outrageous villain. Too tough for TV. In the universe. DC Comics. Read 'em and love 'em.
DC Comics. Read 'em and love 'em. You found that, well, you posted that on Facebook, and I had to grab it for the show tonight.
Yeah, and that was the thing that DC did in the mid-90s. It was on the videotapes that they released for Batman the Animated Series. They did like 2 episodes per tape. And you could actually buy airtime with it,
Oh, wow.
and have your comic shop at the end of it, which probably was very cost prohibitive to most comic shops. But yeah, it was just interesting. Of a couple years ago, DC was trying to do ads for their comics, and it just didn't. It worked out okay, but it just looking at that as such a time capsule of a certain period.
I've never seen that ad before, so it's very cool. John asking when do you think our guys will update our promo to feature Tyler Hoechlin? I'll get around to it. It's not a priority at this point in time. It's just it's on my to-do list.
It's not easy, y'all.
No, exactly. But thank you, John, for asking and for your concern. But I will get around to it. It's just, as I said, not a priority at this point in time. It's down the list, but I'll get there eventually. All right, look, in some sad news this week, we did hear and learn of the death of Neal Adams, who was a comic book. Oops, turn off Erica there. A comic book legend. He passed away aged 80 after complications from sepsis. Died in New York last Thursday. This one hit hard. He was a really great guy. It didn't seem like he was 80. I don't know. He just seemed to be so much younger. But Superman versus Muhammad Ali, and so many. Obviously he was better known for his work on Batman and Green Lantern. But wow, what a legend of the industry. And he was also very, very he is not infamous, if you want, but he requested DC treat their artists and writers a lot better. He came to Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster's aid at a time when Superman the movie was coming out, and he realized that they were not destitute, but were especially Joe Shuster was pretty much living hand to mouth, and went into bat for them and requested that DC do something for them. They put them on a gave them some money on a yearly basis, put their names in the credits of Superman comic books forevermore. Just a real legend of the comic book industry.
Yeah, he was the one that mounted the defense, and did his best to get them on chat shows and newspaper articles, and just fought tirelessly for them because they were fighting. So he wanted to kind of use his platform at the time. And it's funny, I was looking through Mike's Amazing World of Comics, and you can look at creator, and it gives you like a chronological listing of everything they'd done. And he, compared to others, he did not do like as many issues of Batman as you might think. And his work on Superman was mostly in the covers. He did the Superman versus Muhammad Ali, but despite that, he basically, and he said this, it was a quote that he gave, is that he didn't change the way Superman or Batman were drawn. He just showed that you could draw them to draw them better and make them look more dynamic. And I think one of the things he did to Superman, which is very subtle, is you look at his Superman, he's got sideburns.
Yep.
In the 70s. So he was letting it grow out. He wasn't getting as high and tight as he was before. No, this hit me hard too, because Neal Adams was the artist on many of the first comics that I ever read, thanks to Superman and Batman from the 30s to the 70s. And he basically looked at Batman and said, I'm going to draw this like Christopher Lee as Dracula in the Hammer movies. And it just completely revolutionized how the character... The funniest story is he kept trying to draw Batman. Julius Schwartz wasn't going to let him. So he went to Murray Boltinoff, who was the editor of Brave and the Bold, and starts drawing issues of Brave and the Bold, and suddenly Julius Schwartz is getting bugged to have the guy that's drawing Batman on the Brave and the Bold. Why aren't you having him draw Batman? And it was like this total circuitous way to get there. And he's paired with Denny O'Neil to write and to draw the Green Lantern Green Arrow series, And while it wasn't a commercial success, that series basically revolutionized how DC told stories. So it's just like I will say later in life, I didn't like him touching up his old artwork because I kind of liked how the artwork looked. But, you know, he was a man that pretty much lived his life the way he wanted to. I met him once at a convention. And instead of sitting there and talking about how I loved his Batman and all that, he ended up giving me life advice. It was the weirdest thing. I just couldn't. I was like walking away. I was like, did Neal Adams just tell me that I can do what I want and I don't have to worry about having a job to have insurance? Does he not live in America? I mean, seriously. But no, it's just when this came over, I was just like, wow, that. We are losing these legends fast.
It's sad. So, pay tribute to Neal Adams, just an awesome guy, an awesome artist, and just a heavyweight of the comic book industry. Sad to see him pass away, and our condolences to his family and friends. All right, let's get into our fan favourite segment of our show. Here is our intro. All right, Michael, what was our fan favourite question from last week?
What is your favorite and smallest Superman item you own? And Rommel Cat Tunkin, thank you for the pronunciation guide there. Here are some of the smallest items in my Superman collection. Toyman Winslow Shot, Hero Clicks, and Superman vs. Bizarro. Those are small. That's adorable. I like that.
Yeah, thank you, Rommel. So really cool little small items there. Next up, we have Stephen Marshall, who said, I don't own many small Superman items. This is probably the smallest one I own. It's made of some kind of metal and is Justice League Animated Series Superman statue. I got it secondhand, so I have no idea what its history is. And I took the image in front of a clock because you got no response to the Superman clock question last week, and I felt bad. Thank you, Stephen. That's very kind of you.
Tyler Hauser wrote, I love my Superman Hero Clicks, but my smallest would be my Mixius Pitilix figure.
Yes, it's really cool little figure there. Yeah, it's Hero Clicks. I don't hear much about it anymore. I guess it's probably not as popular as it once was. But thank you, Tyler, for that. Next up, we have David Rustage, who said, I would nominate a gold medallion for Superman's 50th anniversary. I bought this at the time, and it now resides in a display cabinet alongside a Kingdom Come shield pin. Both are pictured here. I don't have the... maybe unless I need to make it smaller, but let's have a look. Let's try to bring it down. No, sorry, didn't have the pin there, but appreciate that, David. Thank you very much for sharing that image.
Patrick O'Neill wrote, my favorite small item is my Kellogg's Pep, the super delicious cereal Superman button pen from the 1940s.
That is cool. I always wondered what they looked like. I mean, I've seen the collections of people having them all, but that would be one item that if I saw it on auction somewhere and it wasn't going for too expensively, I would get just for the historical value and the fact that I love the radio series and those commercials.
I looked a couple of years ago on eBay. They're not that expensive here in the States.
Okay.
I don't know if it's one of those things where people just aren't looking for them. But anyways,
thank you, Patrick, for that.
Yes, thank you, Patrick. You're next. I thought I was, next. But I'm not.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, my favourite small Superman object would be a tie between these two Superman keychains. The one of Superman is 3 inches tall and the one of the S is 1.5 inches tall. And for some reason, again, I haven't grabbed his second image to put in here, but that is a really cool little keychain. I think I have that somewhere as well. Very cool. Thank you, Patrick.
Wonder if it looks like
Ryan.
This.
Let me take the images off. Show it again.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if it looks like that. Yeah, I've had this thing for like 20 years. It's been with me. I bought it at the Warner Brothers store.
Of course you did.
JP Rocha wrote, minus the head, this is the Funko Pop keychain. Minus the head, this Funko Pop keychain is the smallest Superman collectible I have.
Yeah, that's a massive head with a very, very, very small body. Thank you, JP, for sending that in. And last of all, we have Mo Walker, who said, my submission for this week's fan favourite question is my 3-inch Superman action figure by Mattel. This was a stocking stuffer from a few Christmases ago. Is that the same one that we saw earlier from...
No.
No.
That's a different one. The one earlier was
Ryan.
more for the Justice League animated series.
Yes, that's right, it was too.
So it looks a little different than that. But yeah, that's cute. It's a cute little thing.
Nice stocking stuffer. Thank you, everyone. That's from last week having no people replying to the fan favourite segment. We've got quite a few this week, and some names that we haven't heard from in a while. So thank you to everyone for replying and getting involved in the big question for this week. Michael, what is our new big question moving forward? Sorry, not big question, fan favourite question.
Yeah. Other than the main theme, what is your favorite track off the Superman the movie soundtrack? And then you got to say which one.
Yes.
They released several different versions of that over the years.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some versions that don't have certain tracks. So, yes, what is your favourite track other than the main Superman March theme from the Superman the movie soundtrack? Let us know. Get involved in the big question segment of our show. The email address is scrolling across the bottom of your screen right now. info@supermanhomepage.com, and we will read out and play a little bit of each of those tracks when we return to this segment next week. All right, time for This Week in History.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bowels of your earthly confinement, traveling through time and space.
We're going to start things off a little... something that didn't age well, I guess you could say. Back in 1942, Superman number 17 came out. Has a cover by Fred Ray.
Famous cover. Very famous cover.
Yeah, that Japanese Hirohito just... yeah, that didn't age well. But anyways, the stories that have nothing... the cover has nothing to do with the stories inside. There's the Man or Superman, the Human Bomb, Muscles for Sale, and When Titans Clash. Jumping ahead to 1952, I love this cover, actually.
Yeah, it's cool.
It is just like basically Jor-El and Laura hanging out with some dude that looks like Jonathan Kent, but younger. It's the man who went to Krypton. You also had The Greatest Picture in the World and Superman meets Pocahontas. I'm sure that aged well as well. Jumping all the way ahead to 1982, not a lot going on in 62, 72, and 72. We have Superman and Aquaman in DC Comics Presents number 48, 8 Arms of Conquest, plus the Whatever Happened to the Black Pirate and Son story in the back. You also have Justice League of America number 205, The Final Hand. And Superman is not looking too good on that cover. Jumping into 1992, a classic. They Saved Luthor's Brain. This one was the explanation of who the Aussie Lex Luthor II was, and it's bananas. Seriously, if you've not read this issue, it's a head trip. No pun intended there. Also, this week back in 1992, the Superboy special, the last book to tie in to the Adventures of Superboy television series. Have you ever read this?
No.
Okay, this is a trippy story because it basically reveals at the end, or makes it seem like all of the Superboy series were just stories Clark wrote to try to impress Lana.
Oh, wow.
It's really interesting. Stan Berkowitz, who was a writer on the show and eventually would go on to write a lot of animation, wrote the script for this. I didn't even know it existed for the longest time, but managed to find a copy. And it's got some cool pinups in there, too.
Nice.
Jumping ahead to 2002, we have DC First Superman Lobo number 1. Apparently, people still aren't sick of Superman fighting Lobo because it seems to keep popping up.
Yes.
We also had Superman number 182, Dead Men, with a really cool Ed McGuinness cover of Superman fighting Solomon Grundy Want Pants 2. And he really looks like he needs a pair of pants in that shot. And Young Justice number 45, which of course had Superboy in it. And the New 52 era is not something we usually have a bunch of books for, but this week we have Action Comics number 9, which really went crazy on eBay a couple years ago. I may have sold mine for a pretty good, pretty good wedge. We also had Earth 2 #1, which had that version of Superman unfortunately meeting his untimely end. And the first issue of Smallville Season 11, the print version of the digital comic, came out on this day. It had 2 covers. It had this one and another Gary Frank cover, which looked maybe a little bit better.
Yeah.
In the real world, we had Glenn Ford.
I think we did Glenn Ford last week.
Did we do Glenn Ford last week? Okay, May 1st was... okay, anyways, May 3rd, Jackie Cooper, Perry White in the Superman films died in 2011. He was 88 years old. And May 5th, as we just saw, Henry Cavill, Superman in 2013 Man of Steel movie, born in Jersey Channel Islands in 1983. And that is this week in history.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. We now... just want to have a look at what the comic books are available this week in the world of Superman. So if you're a comic book reader and you're wondering what's out this week, here is what you have to look forward to. Bringing up here, we've got Suicide Squad number 15, which is available in this variant cover right there. We also have the final issue of the 6-issue miniseries World of Krypton number 6, which is also available in this pretty cool variant cover, although the cover doesn't actually happen in the story, so that's just a very nice image. We also have Tale of the Super Pets trade paperback out this week, and also the hardcover 2022 edition of DC 1 Million Omnibus out this week as well.
Yeah, that Super Pets thing came out this month because
they thought the movie was going to come out.
The movie was going to come out. Apparently you can't put a hold on certain things. So
no,
that's funny.
Scheduled to come out, and they come out regardless. Also, don't forget the Superman homepage Super Trivia Quiz has been updated for another month. The 3 questions we're asking you this time around are, and don't put anything in the comments here because we don't want to give away the answers. In the comic books, what kind of animal is Comet? In the very first Flash of Superman cartoon, what animal does the mad scientist have as a pet? And what species of animal is Lulu, the main villain in the upcoming DC League of Super Pets animated movie? So if you think you know the answers to those 3 questions, go to supermanhomepage.com/trivia and submit your answers for those 3 questions. And that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to Superman Homepage Live. Thanks to all those who tuned in live via YouTube to watch us tonight and participated in the comments. Thanks to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. And thank you to you, my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey.
Pleasure as always, Steve.
Remember, if you tuned in late, missed part of the show, want to watch it all over again, it can be done at our website, supermanhomepage.com, or our YouTube channel. But Michael and I will be back next week on Monday, May 9th, for another edition of Superman Homepage Live. Hope you'll join us then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice. On behalf of myself and Michael Bailey, thanks for watching Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.